the most wonderful time. Oh, wait. You're the musician.
And we're back. No. No, my job is to count to 4 and start over. I'm not singing. You should
Is that
never
how
give the
that
drummer a
works?
microphone. That is how it works.
Yeah, I've heard you sing, and I think that sounds about right. That sounds all right. Well, happy holidays, Mike. This is
Yeah,
when
Merry Christmas, Jake.
yep, yeah. This is when
hmm
all cyber attacks stop for 2 weeks.
And thank goodness that we can count
Or
on
we,
that. We're all tired.
yep. We can count on the bad guys. Take a couple of weeks off. It's not this is an international agreement. It's all fine, right?
Yeah, it's all fine.
Okay, good. It is the shortest day of the year.
It is. Welcome to the solstice.
Welcome to the solstice. And I'm in Alaska, so today we have very short daylight.
Yeah. So what is it, like an hour?
Where I am, it's a little bit more than that.
You're pretty snowed in too right now, right?
Yeah, we've gotten a ton of snow since I've gotten here, and then when it doesn't snow here, the temperature just plummets. So today it's negative 11 outside.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's not too bad. Last year was negative 40. So it's like 30 degrees warmer. It's not bad. It's not bad. Hey, on to cybersecurity and not weather. So we just did a panel on the tribal grant. Can you tell folks what that is?
The Tribal Cyber Grant Program, TCGP, is somewhat like the state and local cyber grant program that came out recently. I would say that the differences are there's a lot less money available. The deadline for applications is the 10th.
The 10th of January.
10th of January. The application process is pretty convoluted. And so you need to read through the notice of funding opportunity, the NOFO, or watch the replay of the website where we explain all this stuff.
Yeah, folks need a link to that webinar. It's not on our website because we did it through a organization called Tribal Hub, but I'm happy to share that with you. Just email me, jake@criticalinsight.com, and I'll send it over. And then in the new year, we're going to do security awareness training again, but we're not doing any more this year. If for some reason you need an emergency security awareness training,
call me. I'll put the scare on you.
Right. Somebody was not aware and clicked a fake Amazon link or something. You let us know. Okay, Mike, some big news this week. This whole back and forth. Is this Black Cat or is the Alpha V? It's the same thing, right?
Same thing.
Alpha V, Black Cat, ransomware gang. This is a heck of a story. So what's happening?
So the FBI seized their leak website, right, where they publish, here's what we stole from you, and to prove that they stole the stuff. So FBI got that taken over. So the page that comes up, this site has been seized, blah blah blah. And what the gang says is hours later, they unseized it. And more troubling than that, they're saying, okay, and this is completely retaliatory. They are saying, okay, gloves off, go after hospitals, go after critical infrastructure. We don't care anymore. It's, they use, they're part of an affiliate model, and there are kind of rules as to what their tools can be used for and what they can't. And they just lifted the cap on the tools. That's what they say. This gang has been, they have exaggerated before. So so we don't know if this is the truth, but it's troubling to hear.
So wait, are you saying that we can't trust the criminals to tell us what's really going on?
That's clearly what I'm saying. Yeah, even the threats of here we're coming after your hospitals. I don't know how much to believe that, but because the people that buy into their affiliate model would have to also be motivated to do something like that. I don't know that anybody that was motivated to do that before would have stopped doing that just because there's their corporate policy to not go after hospitals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure there's a good guy and the bad guy gang, something like that.
Sure.
Hey, other big news is Xfinity now says they have a data breach, and that's a lot of people impacted.
It is a lot of people. I'm not sure what the value of the data that was stolen might be, right? So last
Do you
4
think the
digits
bad
of
guys will pay my cable bill?
no.
Oh, okay.
Last 4 digits of the social, dates of birth, secret questions. I don't know how valuable that stuff is.
Yeah.
However, there was an article that will be in tomorrow's blast about the value of, and you and I have talked about this, and so I just want to score another "I told you so" here. The value of all of the records and data that have been stolen by the country of China now that they can process it with AI. Right. And in the context that
Right.
you and I have talked about it, it's how to surgically target voters for disinformation to sway enough of them to flip the election. But what they're talking about is all of the intellectual property and secrets and all that stuff that they've stolen. When it's exposed to AI, it can make new products pop out, and it can get them caught up, to their technological difficulties in matching the United States. And so that is troubling in terms of records stolen. And some of those records are the benign data, like, for example, what Xfinity
Mhm.
lost. So it's not so much the value of the data that was lost, but in combination with other things, it becomes very valuable.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things we saw in that Marriott breach a long time ago was the Chinese using the data to figure out who FBI and CIA agents were,
Yeah.
and then cross-referencing it with other things, which now makes that easier. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that happens. And just, I know that everybody's wondering, in case you're curious, the color of my first car was blue.
Mine was yellow.
Yep. And so, yeah, all of my passwords are, blue, blue Toyota. Just, yeah.
I don't the whole secret question thing. I don't even run into the whole secret question thing anymore. And when we do awareness training,
Yeah.
we talk about how that is not multi-factor authentication.
Oh, I just ran into it again with a piece of marketing software. That's what they wanted to know. The color of
Really?
your first car. Yep. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Great. Great. Just great question. Hey, on the healthcare front, you mentioned hospitals there.
Hmm.
2023 is going to end up being, the most people affected by hospital breaches. It's like
One
100
in
million, right?
three,
Yeah.
1 in 3 Americans have had some health records stolen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the problem is out of
I
control.
guess I'm only surprised that it's 1 in 3 and not 2 in 3 or
It's
three and
there.
three at this
There
point.
are no records left to steal. I'm just going to keep saying that, right? I mean, at some point, the value of this stuff has to go down because of just the tremendous glut. Unless you're a country that buys that stuff to process it with AI and machine learning to, do some of the things that we've suggested that technique can, produce. So, but every day we're losing records, and it's I'm numb. Are you numb? Do you care? I mean, it's awful.
I mean, I care. I care more about hospitals being shut down by ransomware than I do about a record being stolen. And I
Yeah,
think,
so do I.
and
That's what
the
I mean.
fact, and by the way, I will also say, and I engaged in this conversation with somebody recently. I think the whole HHS reporting on breaches in hospitals is broken. I mean, I think
Yeah.
reporting on records breached instead of reporting on like hospital shut down
Hmm.
is it's an old metric that doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and interestingly, some of these regulations are being updated. I saw an article today that COPPA, the Children's Online Privacy
mhm,
Protection Act, is going to be updated so that advertisers don't sniff so much data about children, don't
sure.
keep them engaged longer with push notifications, and trying to limit data collection to devalue that stuff. So,
Mhm.
you're talking about how this whole business of the wall of shame is kind of a 20th century artifact. That's probably going to get updated too, right? Because
Yeah,
the
and I
deal
mean,
is, right, it's impact to patient outcomes is the thing, and hospital shutdowns are a much bigger deal.
much bigger deal. And speaking of updates, 2024 is going to bring a lot of updates in healthcare. In terms of regulation, there was just an article today where you're quoted all through it in my
Yeah.
favorite named website ever, Fierce Healthcare.
Yeah.
But tell folks about what you said in that article.
Well, we talked about, the changing regulations and how that fits into this overall strategy by the Biden administration,
Hmm.
and how claims of negligence are likely to be, and, frankly, prosecutions for negligence,
Sure.
um, are going to end up being, I think, an enforcement mechanism that's more likely to create positive change than all of the other new regulations coming out, just requiring do all this stuff to prevent, do all this stuff to prevent. And the other thing I talked about was prevention is really giving way to resilience, right?
Hmm.
It's a foreseeable event. Get ready to take the punch, and minimizing downtime is more important than preventing the thing from happening in the first place.
Sure.
Talked a lot about stuff like that. It's a great article. It's called 2024 Outlook: The Cybersecurity Trends Health System Leaders Need to Know.
And I'll tell you what, everybody, I'll put it on our LinkedIn later today. So if you want to, I'll just link it there. So if you want to
Yeah,
read it,
I already
it'll be
threw it
there.
on there this morning.
Oh, well, fine then. There you go. Hey, we talked about Xfinity before, but the one we talked about a couple of weeks ago, now we sort of know the how broad it is. Mr.
Mm,
Cooper, mortgage servicer,
yep.
including my mortgage. Thanks a lot. And this whole idea that I wouldn't have to pay my mortgage because they get hit by ransomware turned out not to be true. They wanted me to pay it anyway.
Oh God, you'd think you would get a buy on stuff like that. Well, they're
You think you
probably,
get,
yeah, but you know what? You're probably going to be able to get some of that back by joining as a plaintiff in the class that's definitely going to sue them,
yeah,
right?
I
But
will
now they're
make.
talking about 14 million customers. That
Yeah.
means you guys are going to get, like a $1.90 a piece. So don't completely write that off. And so they're going to end up with a class action, right? The VF Corporation, right? Vans, in the middle of the holiday season, right? We talked about this too. Fulfillment could be hampered here, which means, and this is North Face, right? And by the way, thank you for the incredible North Face swag here
Hmm.
that Madison gave me yesterday.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
I told her it's got this right under the wire because North Face, as part of VF Corp, as is Vans, tennis shoes, they're having problems fulfilling
Fulfilling orders.
orders
Yeah.
and getting stuff shipped. Yeah. So I don't know if they're going to get class action, but
Yeah.
Fidelity Financial now facing a class action
And
suit,
hey,
right?
on the wait, going back for a second on the Vans and North Face and everything, do we know if they paid the ransom? We haven't heard, right?
We have not heard, and it's likely that they negotiated them down and things are being decrypted now because, yeah, for sure, at this part of the season, they don't want to be offline.
Yeah, I mean, and the reason I'm asking is, we have seen in the last few years an uptick in manufacturing ransomware attacks. And,
Yes.
I mean, the other larger trend we see is when an industry starts being known for paying ransoms. Hello, healthcare.
Hmm.
There become more attacks. State and local government, health, their insurance companies pay, and so, if they paid, then that could spell bad things for other manufacturers in the new year. I think that's,
Manufacturing sector is already number one for
yeah,
ransomware,
yeah,
right? Hospitals number one for records,
yeah,
and that probably does have to go with some reluctance on the part of some gangs to pull the ransomware trigger in hospitals.
yeah. But, I guess attacking vans is fine. I don't know. It's not, it's terrible. I hate all of this.
Yes.
Um, the other thing that keeps happening is, the Gaza Israel
Oh yeah,
war
they're
that's happening
cybering each other real hard right
yeah,
now.
but it keeps spilling over into things that matter to us, right? What's happening now? I mean, it all matters to us, but in terms of the cyber impacts, what I mean is that it matters to things that happen, or matters to things that impact the United States. So the latest one is oil, right?
Yeah, well, it's basically the fuel distribution infrastructure, gasoline,
Hmm.
basically in
Hmm.
Iran, and apparently Israel did it. And the perception is that the U.S. supports Israel, so Iranian punchback could land here. Yes, to your point. Um,
Yep.
they
And
cut that something like 60% of the gas stations in Iran don't work.
and by the way, the thing that we saw before was Iranian hackers went after an Israeli technology company, and Israeli, not owned by the state of
It's
Israel,
been
but
going on longer than
yeah,
that. It's been
yeah.
going on longer than that. Iran hit Israel's water infrastructure at one
Mhm.
point. Israel punched back and took down an Iranian port. So that's kind of where I remember the story. That was like 4 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean now, impacting U.S. water and sewer organizations that are doing business with Israeli software makers.
Yeah.
So, it's that I think the newer thing here is the spillover into companies and that do business in the U.S. Makes it a little different.
Well, I mean, who knows what's coming? I'm pretty
It's not
fascinated.
it's not a situation that's getting better. That I will tell you.
It's not, and I'm a little fascinated with some of the guidance being given to the president about how to handle these things, specifically with respect to China, but
Mhm.
with other companies that would come after our infrastructure. This is it's the article is Biden must be clear with China over cyber attacks, and basically the article says, look, we got to let them know we are in their infrastructure too, and if they pull a trigger, we're pulling a trigger, right? So I mean, it's not quite up to mutually assured destruction, the way the whole nuclear house
Yeah.
of cards is built. But they're saying, in the event that Chinese actors, whether or not they are identified as state controlled or otherwise, so activists, even if they take offensive action against the U.S., specifically utilities networks, really bad things are going to happen, China. And so, I think at this point, I mean, given what we just talked about with war going on in Israel and that potentially bleeding over here, there's war going on in Ukraine. We've already seen that bleed over here and in Canada, notably in their energy infrastructure. Somebody's got to make this statement. We are fully willing to punch back.
That does not make me feel better as we
I'm sure it doesn't, but
yeah, but I mean, yeah, I
deterrence,
hear
is sometimes best served up as a threat.
that's true. That's true. All right. Threats and phones, Mike. What do you got?
Okay. Also, another "I told you so" moment. Or I guess it's you and I told everybody so. When we did our analysis of the healthcare data
Oh
breaches,
yeah.
right? We came up with, hey, look, it's shifted towards vulnerability exploit and
Yep.
away from phishing. Well, now other data have come out. Vulnerabilities are now the top initial access route.
Duh.
Largely because there's been these near global events like the Move It file transfer program that whacked hundreds and hundreds of organizations. So there's that. There's a couple of vulnerabilities that can be chained to do a zero-click Outlook remote code execution, and what it does is it activates a sound file that can be anywhere on the internet, and that sound file can be booby trapped. So what
Oh.
you do is you send a meeting announcement, and the bing, the thing goes off, but it can play that sound file of its choice if you chain these two things together. So, and this stuff should have been patched by now. So there's fake Big Five updates, patches that are actually data wipers. Watch
F5.
out for that.
Yeah.
That's clever.
Hmm.
PF firewall, got to get patched now if you use PF which is largely a Linux thing. Um, Microsoft has something called a Perforce Helix Core server, remote code execution vulnerability there you got to patch.
Hmm.
Oracle WebLogic server,
Hmm.
patch that,
Hmm.
and patch Chrome because Google just fixed the 8th Chrome 0 day this year, and they're saying that there is an exploit out in the wild.
Oh,
So,
good. I mean, I patched Chrome yesterday, and then
yep,
today again it asked for it. So hey,
yep, exactly.
there's a lot of Chrome patching, and I think Mike starts and ends all of the threats and vulns with patch Chrome. Patch Chrome. All right. What do you got for the kicker? The kicker is where Mike lightens the mood, tells us something funny, makes us feel good. What do you got?
Well, today I'm just going to confirm something that everybody has always suspected. Okay, if you're around, the wrong microphone, and you're talking about, wow, I sure need a new pair of Nakona boots. All of a sudden, you start seeing ads for Nakona boots, right? I'm
Hmm.
not sure Nakona is actually still in business, but I love their boots. Anyway, there's a marketing company called CMG Local Solutions. Okay, and people freaked out, panicked when it put out a press release that alluded to the fact that they have access to people's private conversations by tapping into the data coming off of microphones on their phones, TVs, other personal electronics, maybe Alexa, I don't know. So happy holidays, because all your suspicions have now been confirmed.
Or somebody wrote something in a news release that wasn't true. Either one of those.
CMG itself claimed it knows when and what to tune into. Okay, so there you have it. We're being surveilled for the purpose of consumerism.
I don't know if I buy it. I don't know if I buy it. I don't know. I don't know if I buy it. Okay. But hey, All right, everybody. Well, look, on behalf, I don't think we're doing one of these next week. So on behalf of Mike and me and everybody at Critical Insight, have a terrific, terrific holiday. And if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And if you celebrate the new year happening at the end of 2023, then Happy New Year. And we will see you next year. And we'll be back the first week of January.
You can't leave this out. If you are pagan, happy solstice.
Oh, okay. Great. Well, happy solstice. And we'll see you in the beginning of the new year. Mike, it's been great doing 2023 with you. We'll see you in 2024.
See you next year.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.